Welcome to another episode of Let's Do Things Different, shall we? My name is Luis Barnes. I am the executive director of Tech Forward, and I hope we're doing something here. We're trying to grow not just Tech Forward, of course, but this podcast. It is our goal to have guests who have not been able to get one in yet. It's funny how podcasting works. I don't have anything sensational to talk about. I don't have anything scary to talk about. I don't have any gossip to tell you, and even if I did, I wouldn't tell you. Uh, but we're just a simple podcast. I want to talk about technology. I do want to talk about Palmyra and the small town and how we can help it. Uh, but I also know I cannot do this alone. So hence one of the reasons for the podcast, right? I want to talk to other people. I want to see what other people have to say. I want to see if I can get other people to help us, whether it's companies or individuals. How do we help a small town like Palmyra? And I'm talking about Palmyra because this is where I live. But Canton and others around us, it, they're small, but because they're small, 3,000, 2,000, 5,000, does that mean they don't need any help? Uh, I think everybody's counting on those towns to the people from those towns to go to other big cities for work, for everything else. In the meantime, those towns are dying. Uh, and most people just don't seem to care, uh, except for the people who live in those small towns. It's I guess what it is, I guess, but how do we change that mentality? Big cities have their own issues, big issues, no doubt. Uh, but these small towns are being forgotten by everybody else. So it's what we want to do. How do we help Palmyra? How do we help Canton, Philadelphia? Is there a way to help them? Am I naive? And I very well be naive. For the record, I am. I'll be the first one to admit that a lot of what I think we can do and should do are silly thoughts. Some people would say, uh, but the way I see it, I have a man that has decided that this is the way to make something out of nothing, and considering that I have nothing, it's a great it's a great way to be motivated. When you have nothing, the only way is up. So I have, I think I have the things that matter most to get me started, which are my two daughters and my wife. I have a great friend out there in Cincinnati, and quite honestly, with their support, mental, emotional, as really is all I need. Everything else is on me. And let's talk about one thing for a second. Listen, you have the power to do whatever you want to do. And I mentioned this on LinkedIn a few days ago. At the end of the day, there's no one stopping you from doing what you want to do. Yeah, okay, listen, don't get practical on me for a second. Yes, there's money, there's politics, there is everything else out there that you may think is stopping you from doing it. They're not. You are. I am. I'm stopping myself from being the better me, right? Stop doing that. Let's all of us stop doing this, okay? Because the power truly resides in you. It is going to be difficult. It is going to be both physically and mentally painful. But if you want it, if you truly want it, you can do it. It's truly that simple. This has been an incredible ordeal for me. I have learned so much about everything and too much about nothing. And at the end of the day, the only person that I have to blame for what has happened so far is me. And this is today during this podcast and the other podcast. This is me taking the first step to get out there and talk about me, talk about what we have to do, talk about what's out there, and hopefully bring attention to the problem. So let us define the problem. The problem to me is how what is the best way to grow a town, and at the and better yet, what is the end result of growing the town, right? So in Palmyra, there are two ways that I've heard two different ways to go about this. I had one person tell me that the way to do it is to bring big industry in, because if you bring big industry in, plants, manufacturing, etc., then you're bringing people to Palmyra, and those people are going to need housing, and therefore they're going to live here, and therefore they are going to buy here. So there is a big push in Palmyra right now to bring that in. There's a big push by the government, by the local government, to bring industry into Palmyra. I'm not telling you that is wrong. I don't know that is wrong. I don't know that is right. But I personally think if you want to come, if you, don't you need a reason to go to a town? If you are a small business, or if even if you are a big business, you need incentives to come, right? Now, if you're a big business, sadly, the only person that can give you any kind of incentives to come is the government, is the local government. Whether it's tax breaks, whether it's breaks on a lease, whether it's any of that big stuff that costs millions of dollars, there's not a thing that if someone like me can do. There's not a thing. But what I keep thinking about is if you are a small business, what what can we do to help you? Yes, you need business, obviously. You need people to come to the town, or people to live here and come and spend money here. It's a bit of a conundrum, isn't it? Do we build properties, residence, houses so that people want to move to Palmyra? But then the question remains, why would you want to move to Palmyra? Palmyra, Missouri is locally in a very perfect spot. We are 20 minutes from Quincy, Illinois, which is 40 some thousand people. We are about 2 hours from St. Louis, Missouri, about an hour and a half from Columbia, Missouri, an hour from Springfield. But most importantly, we are one, if not the only way to get from St. Louis to Iowa. So there's a lot of traffic that happens on 61 between the two, right? So we have a lot going for us geographically speaking. But do we have enough in town to bring people to town? Do we have enough to do? Do we have enough to keep people here? It's a chicken and egg problem, right? Do you build the businesses? Do you help the local businesses? Do you bring businesses here? Because you need something for the outsiders to come and see and maybe decide to move here. Or do you bring that big, huge company that is going to bring, maybe 100 people, but is 100 people enough, right? It's going to take months, years to build that kind of thing. So I think, I'm not an expert on this field, but just wondering out loud, is it better to help what the people that we have now, all in? Is it better to go all in on what we have now and build the infrastructure to help others come in? Or do we go out and build houses, and then invite some big company that may or may not 10 years down the road said, we don't want to be there anymore, let's move on, and pray that that's enough? I am on the camp that says go all in on your local businesses. That's the camp that I'm in. Go all in on your current residents. Go all in on what you have and make the town something worth coming to, something worth living in. Is it? I honestly do not know. I'm the first one to admit that I came to Palmyra because of a woman that I adore. But That was my reason. I didn't come here because, oh my God, I want to live in Palmyra. But once I lived here, I'm telling you right now, this town can use some help. What is that help? I don't have all the facts. All I can tell you is I hear a lot from, I've been to meetings. Best place to find what's going on in town, by the way, is go get a haircut. I, People are frustrated with the simple things. Sidewalks, although apparently they are getting somewhat fixed. The price of the electricity, the price of sewer, which has skyrocketed in the area. To what end? I do not know. But if I would argue, actually no, I'm not going to argue. I don't know. I think we need to figure out a way to bring businesses in town, not in town, to town, right? I think we have to give the people who are here a reason to stay, and we have to give the people on the outside a reason to come in. All we can do at Tech Forward is offer our help to the local businesses from a technology standpoint. That's our only goal, okay? Using technology, using a website, using social media, using whatever else we can think of. How do we attract people to Palmyra to come see your business? Now, at the end of the day, you have to have a business worth coming to. No doubt. I cannot make you I'm not a creator of businesses. I have a hard time keeping a nonprofit alive. Okay. But I think that's the way to go. My opinion is that let's help what we have. Don't get me wrong. You have to keep an eye on the future. Okay. It is possible to go in both directions, but it is not possible, I don't believe, to go all in on both directions. It's just not possible. My belief is that we go all in on the local businesses that we have. How can we help them? How can we bring other small businesses to town? Okay. A small business in a small town becomes family. Okay. A big business in a small town becomes a business. Maybe that's the wrong word, but it's not family. It is a company. It is a corporation that we don't have much of a say in. A small business, we can help a small business. We cannot help a corporation, right? Anyway, that's my opinion on that. All right. As I talked on the last podcast, we are beginning the project, two projects. Well, they're both under the same umbrella. Right now, they're being called a small town hub. The first part of that is an application to connect the town. Now, have you heard me say this before, but I'm gonna say it again. To us, we are, at the end of the day, we want to help by teaching. Okay. So keep in mind that whatever application we write, we're going to use to teach people how to write an application, how to build a website, how to work with data. So if we build an application and that application is not used, to us, okay, we used it to learn. Do we want it to be used? Absolutely. Are we going to invite the town? Are we going to invite the chamber? Are we going to invite government to participate? Absolutely. We want it to be used, right? Because it's local, because it was built specifically for Palmyra. Don't get me wrong, we build it and we're going to design it in such a way that it could be used in other towns, but we're building it for Palmyra. But at the end of the day, it is being also used for teaching. And that's a big caveat, because we're not a corporation. We're not here to make a profit. We're not here to make millions, and we don't have shareholders and any of that stuff. We want to help the town. We want to help the town in two ways. Can we build something that the town can use? Number one. Number two, let's teach what we do, what we can, to anybody who wants it, and hopefully give them a leg up on a job. Maybe give them the belief that they could build a business of their own. Right? That's our goal. So with that caveat in place, the small town app and the small town hub, and they are hundreds. I'm sure there are hundreds. I have not bothered to even look. Um, the applications that could help a small town, that could tie a town together, all of them cost money. And if they don't cost money, they are ads, they are all kinds of things that make the company money. Okay. Our goal is to two things. How do we help the town, period? That's it. And how do we do it in such a way that our expense is as little as it possibly can? Now, for the record, my time does not count. I don't count any time that I spent writing, designing any of this. It, to me, is not. I'm doing it because I love doing this, right? So I like to believe that if we were to build something that everybody contributed to, that it would be used and it would be done in a way that the town would benefit. And for the record, that becomes one more thing the town has to lure people in. But I can help you get people in. I cannot help you keep them. That's on you. Okay. So that's part one. The second part, which is a longer project, is what right now I don't have a name for. I'm calling it small town MLS, but MLS has currently such a bad I don't know, bad karma attached to it. But it is, we're going to be talking with the real estate agents locally and across small towns to see if building a listing management system, along with whatever the least amount of, what the question is, besides the listing management, what else do you absolutely have to have in order for you to sell a house in a small town? That is the question, okay? That's the question that we're going to be asking. And we're going to be putting up posts on Facebook, LinkedIn, anywhere else we can to see if I can get answers to this question. And the idea here is, or the reasoning here is that small towns, as always, tend to be sucked into doing things by the bigger towns because the small town cannot afford it. It really is that simple. I believe it really is that simple, right? So a town like Palmyra, that is 2 hours away from San Luis, like I said, an hour and a half from Colombia, and I have to go see. I believe they belong to the Mark Twain Regional MLS or association. They are using software provided by somebody big, some other town, some other bigger town is providing the software that the local agents are using to sell their houses, right? But they're paying those big fees. If we can build something and give it away or charge absolutely little that benefits the town, both the realtors and the buyers, sellers and the buyers, that is our goal. And again, I am going to involve as many people as I can. Our goal at the end is to help the town. Okay, the towns. In this case, it would be multiple. The towns. That is our goal. We listen. I'm telling you right now. This is my personal opinion, and I'm sure there's somebody out there that will disagree with me. But take a look at the real estate landscape. Okay, who do you hear about in the news? Who do we hear about in the news? Who's making the money? The Remaxes of the world, the Keller Williams of the world, right? NAR. They're all making money out of this thing. And we're not talking bucks. We're talking thousands, millions, right? How are they making those thousands of millions? Well, besides fees from the state, the county, the city, the MLS, everybody is charging everybody a dime to be part of something, right? On top of that, they are being asked to pay for software that is being designed by big companies. Man, I sound like okay, never mind. It's being designed by big companies that are charging an arm and a leg to the MLSs, who in turn have to pass that cost to the agents, right? So here is this small town realtor having to pay fees to St. Louis, to Chicago, to Springfield, to whatever the heck the software is coming from, even though they're not using half, well, actually more than half of what is being offered, right? Maybe I'm a fool, but I believe we can create something that a small town realtor that is not good enough. I don't want to build good enough. That is great for the local realtor, for the local small town realtor, and find a way to keep the cost either free or incredibly low. We're hoping that by the time this comes to light, this becomes available, that maybe between grants, donations, etc., that we can keep it at nothing. That is ultimately that is the goal. They are fees that will have to get paid because the agent wants to push their listings to realtor.com, to whatever, Zillow, any of that stuff. We'll deal with those if we can. But if we had to pass the cost to the realtor, I can sell that. I can honestly sell that. We'll see. But those two projects are moving along. I hope to share my first blog on both of them this weekend. There's a lot of conversations to have, and I'm hoping to schedule a meeting with realtors first early February, mid February, to talk about this, and I will keep you posted as they come. All right. Last thing. We are building this. Let's talk about it specifically in technology, about the small town hub, as it relates to the town application. So I've been talking to a lot of developers, and of course, if you ask 10 developers, they're going to give you 10 different answers as to the best language to develop something. It is absolutely amazing to me, myself included, that every developer out there has an opinion on what is the best language to do something. Okay. So we're building a mobile app. Okay. There are people out there who believe that you use something like JavaScript, React, Flutter, Dart, so that you have a single source code to handle both Android, in this case, let's keep it simple, Android and iOS. Then there are those who believe that you write them separately, that you write iOS on Swift, Android on whatever they used to write Android. I should know this, but I don't. All right. And as long as they both mimic, are identical in what they do, because you're using the native language for both, you are able to make better use of whatever the iOS and the Android phones, mobile apps, mobile tablets have to offer. There are benefits to both. So where do we come? We come down on the side of Swift and Android. We come down on the side of writing two different sets of apps. And again, the main reason for this is to add to our catalog of things that we can teach, right? We have three things going on. We have an app for iOS, we have an app for Android, we have a website. Total up the number of languages that you would have to learn to write all these three things different or separately, their own code base. And I believe that's a better offering to an individual than to say to the individual, hey, we're going to teach you how to do JavaScript, and then because with that, you can write everything. It's true. It's not a lie. But we want to give, but we want to give you a taste of different development application softwares out there. We want to teach you languages that you can then decide, hey, you know what? I really like this one. I'm going to continue on this. We are not going to teach. We're not making experts out of anyone. Our goal is to have you taste the waters and decide which one is better for you. So to do that is why we decided that the best way to do this is to write three different sets of source code and learn whatever languages we need to learn, which we're not going to learn 100, okay? keep it simple, stupid is the KISS thing, and learn how to build them separately. Learn enough to build them and enough that we can teach you, enough for you to decide which way you want to go. That's our goal. That's why we come down on the side of separate source codes for all three. So that's what we're doing with the Small Town Hub, with the Hometown application. iOS, Android, website in the middle. Now, this does bring a very interesting question, which I'll discuss real quick. Is the website. You can go, when you build a website that, well, I'm sorry, when you have an application and everybody knows your application, let's call it Small Town Hub, smalltownhub.com. My expectation is I'm using an app called Small Town Hub, right? My expectation is that if I go to the website at smalltownhub.com, that I can do on the website, if not everything, just about everything that I can do on a mobile app, right? That's my expectation. But you can also go the way of Venmo, for example, where all Venmo is, website Venmo, is just, hey, this is what we do, this is how we do it, but you have to use the mobile app to do it all. I for the sake of simplicity, I can see going the Venmo way. For the sake of teaching, I can go the other way. I don't believe there's a in between, or there may be in the Small Town Hub side, but at the very least, the website needs to tell you what we're doing, how we're doing it, and how you can do it. Now, the how part obviously is either going to be the mobile app, or listen, we can only do A, B, C, and D, but you can do the rest of it on your phone. Right now, I am leaning towards the Venmo side. If you are on your phone, if you have a phone, everybody has a phone. The website should be for information and information only. This is an app-driven, a mobile-driven application. It's going to be location-based. It has to be location-based, right? We are keeping no data from the user, no personal data from the user, right? So if I'm going to do that, if I'm going to keep it that simple, then the website really doesn't have to be that complicated. Listen, there might be a couple of things that you could do on the website that you can do on the app, but I don't believe that for this particular purpose, you need to make the website do exactly what the app does. That is the reason, by the way, why I am not doing one single source code. That's the main reason. I'm keeping it separate. Other than the iOS and the Android version doing exactly the same thing, just differently internally, the website doesn't do what the app does. Therefore, having a single source code that does it all doesn't make sense to me. That's my opinion. That's my personal opinion. All right. That is it for us today. I keep saying, one of these days, I'm going to have to figure out this we and I thing. We hope, see, like that one. I hope to have a guest soon. We're going to be talking more about Palmyra and the local towns on every podcast. I'm hoping to be talking to people locally and otherwise to see if I can get some of information, opinions, and such. Maybe even get them on the website. But I am going to start making a push to get people to come on the show. Yes, we want to grow it, no doubt. But I also want to hear what the people have to say. Absolutely. I listen. If you think I'm wrong, come on the show and tell me I'm wrong. But tell me why. Okay. One of the biggest things I always hated about my managers is that they were all for telling me that no, we're doing it this way, but never told me why. Okay, I won't say never, but okay. I have no problem with you telling me I'm wrong. Tell me why I'm wrong. As long as it's not because I said so, because I'm the boss and you're not, because that's the way it is, and because I like this and you don't. Hey, those are not answers. Convincing me that Python, for example, is not the way to do this, you better come and tell me why not. come prepared to tell me why not. Love to have the conversation. Would love to have some people on that would be willing to have discussions about any topic related to technology, or Palmyra for that matter, or Quincy, or Hannibal. Love to hear it. Until we meet again, this is your host, Luis, and I wish you all a great week.